My name's Terry, and I'm going to introduce to you the Da-Vinci Cuffs software which I created for my final piece in creative computing at Goldsmiths. And yeah, basically it's a BioSignal interface which is able to interact with Ableton and DMX lighting to create multimodal performances for artists, musicians, installation kind of people, anyone who wants to make anything with sound and light. It can be the interface for that using the body. So here I have on my arm the Myo armband, and this measures EMG signals. For those who don't know that, it's the muscle tension in the arm, and also measures gyroscope, accelerometer, quaternion, all that sort of stuff. So we can hopefully aim to classify gestures over time and static positions and regress between different values and things like that. That's kind of a sum up of the software. So in front of us we have some signal processing happening. We have the RMS, which is a smoothing algorithm, the Bayes, which is a predictive model to test when the next, to predict what the next set of values are by using jump rate, by using diffusion. It jumps up to the next value and diffuses down to other values, and so you get that some jumping, some smoothly interpolating values here when I'm moving my arm around. And we also have standard deviation, which is like a average of averages over the mean sample of the EMG signal. And I'm not sure exactly what that means, but like it kind of feels similar to the RMS, which is quite interesting. I'm trying to work out like more creatively where these can fit in between, which is quite interesting. We have the RMS ratios as well. All of these are the ratios of the above. So what that means is that one sensor is divided by another sensor, and that is one value. And so I've got 28 of those because I do the combination of every sensor. And yeah, apparently I read about this, and this gives you a different kind of feature vector that you could probably use within an algorithm to detect motion through volitional movement. So we have the KNN model, which currently has quite a lot of samples. I'm going to take them out. And we've got EMG, and we have accelerometer here, so I can just record another gesture in. So I'm going to record that one. And because we use an accelerometer, I can use my arm in different positions. Okay, another position. Let's just train that. So that's purple down here. There's a blue somewhere. Oh, let's try that again. So I've got 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's blue, purple, grey. So we have, some things there, and I think I need to bring down this threshold. This detects when the classifications start. Any value above here from the RMS value will trigger the classification. That means I can stay in one position and maybe like hold that here, but then record. What you can do is record more examples in that space by just moving your arm around as you're recording with the KNN, and that will say this area here is class 1, class 2, etc. We have an XMM model which is not fully implemented, unfortunately. I've been having troubles with the run method. I'm trying to get a phrase of signals into the run method. That's my problem at the moment. So if anyone can help me with that, that's great. And basically this is the prediction of gestures over time, and we will probably be using the gyroscope to capture that movement. Here we have regression as well. That's the final model we're using. And if you look here, I'm going to turn the sound off for a second. So if you look here and I press these buttons, I've got different neural networks sitting underneath each of these scenes. And for those of you that doesn't understand what a scene is, this is Ableton. Let's turn this off. So we've got scenes all down the side here, and we have tracks at the top. We have devices here, and each of those devices have parameters, so we can adjust these little parameters here all through this software, which is built in Open Frameworks and Xcode. Anyway, so we've got, say we want to play track 3, which you can hear is a little bit on the noisy side. Let's bring that up so we can hear it more. I believe. There we go. So I can change the rate. How intense the sound is, and change the rate. And change the frequency at which it's going to affect the most as well. So these will affect the lower frequencies, these affect higher frequencies. So say I like this particular sound, I can record that in, I can change the sound now, so I like that, and I can record. And as you can see here, what it's affecting is this thing down here. What I originally wanted to do was have a gesture activate these modes, but that's been proving quite difficult. So for now I've connected them up to these buttons to make it easier for the performer to play with them and manipulate. So say I've got another model. Here we go. So we get that lush sound coming. So say I want that up here. So some of these are taking pitch, yaw and roll as inputs, and some of them are taking EMG and pitch yaw roll, just to kind of add an element of like interpolating between these values. So say I want that. So it's not moving too much. So if you look here, you'll be able to see the frequency changing, the pan as well. So maybe we want to change that frequency more. So if we stop it, we can change that down. So we can do this kind of thing. Record more of that. There you go. I'm just moving my arm around. It's quite interesting to play around with those movements as well, like what happens when I whack my hands down and things like that. So I'm just going to show you a couple of other final features, which is that firstly the user can change different scenes here, and if they have trained a neural network then it will activate straight away, thus being like a MIDI controller for the Ableton scenes at the moment. Originally I did want to control the scenes with like gestures over time, but yeah, wasn't able to do that, so this is the way I've dealt with that issue. And finally there's save functionality as well, so here I can sort of just record some gestures in just to kind of capture that, and record this one, and when I go between now I've got control of that, and say I want then control of this one as well. So I'm recording that in, recording this in, and I have control of this one, and I have control of number 1 in their respective format. So now I can say, well, I want to save these gestures, and so just click on gesture 2, because I have a gesture 1 already I've saved, and I'm going to save those out. I'm going to clear these, I'm going to load them back in. I've got 76 here. I've got another one here called gesture 1, and if I load that back in, I get 54 and 174 of these examples. So this all works.